Stop worrying, guys. China cannot win this trade war against the US because it boils down to one simple fact. America is the buyer, China is the seller, and the buyer always wins if they can buy somewhere else. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, just good enough. And America, it's not just one country. It's like 50 different states fused together to create one monster consuming behemoth. And let me explain it like this more simply. Imagine the biggest construction firm in the United States buys 20,000 Ford trucks every single year. Now, Ford won't give them their best price, and this construction company finds out. Why? Because Ford just assumes they're always going to buy them and they'll have the business. But guess what? They can actually switch the whole dang order to Dodge. Now, sure, will it be a headache? Yeah. But can they do it? Absolutely. Because guess what? Dodge also makes trucks, and Ford needs this massive order, but the firm just needs the trucks. So the buyer that has options holds the power. Now, America is that buyer with options in Vietnam, Malaysia, and eventually with automated factories here in the US. So the US actually has the power to wipe out millions of jobs in China by simply redirecting where the manufacturing is or bringing it back on shore. And if the US starts actually making the stuff that they're buying again, it's game over for China's current business model. So now remember the golden rule. The buyer with options calls the shots, period. And if you want to see what stocks are going to benefit most, give me a follow.
China has not fought a war since 1979. They have an army that's not fought a war. The American military has a lot of experience fighting wars. I'm not saying this is a good thing. The United States is like a cocked pistol, right? Chinese military, they haven't fought a war in a long time, and they would have to launch an amphibious operation, which is one of the most difficult military operations possible.
Right.
On top of that, the Americans are going to defend Taiwan. Joe Biden has said this 4 separate times. We are going to defend Taiwan. The Chinese elites I've talked to over time, they know full well we are going to defend Taiwan. The Japanese are going to defend Taiwan with us. The Australians are going to defend Taiwan with us. So if the Chinese launch an amphibious operation to try to capture Taiwan, they're going to do that in the face of American, Japanese, and Australian resistance.
And the Koreans.
And the South Koreans in all likelihood will be there too. So I think that despite the fact,
if China owns 800 billion of U.S. debt, which they do, then of course the United States, as the borrower, has to pay interest, which means that you and I and everybody else gets to pay taxes every year that go to Washington, where they don't fund our roads or schools or hospitals. It's money that the United States government collects and sends to Beijing to pay interest on the debt, and the Chinese use to develop the Red Army. Do you understand? All of this has to happen beneath the surface, because if Americans understood what I just said, they would realize that beneath all the reality is the opposite. That's the reality of the economic of capitalism.
Did you know that China's president Xi Jinping's daughter lives in the United States? Yes, the country that is currently in a worldwide trade war with the United States. His daughter lives in Boston, Massachusetts. Her name is Xi Mingxi. She is the only daughter to China's president. Oh, but that's not all. Guess where she studied? Harvard University. Yes, the Harvard University. She attended there from 2010 to 2014. And for security reasons, she studied under a fake name. And I bet you didn't know that she had personal Chinese security guards that watched over her 24/7 here on United States soil. Why would you choose an American education over a Chinese education? That says a lot. Now pause and think about this. If China is really a global superpower, why is its leader's daughter living and learning in the US? Or is that not a little ironic? The Chinese Communist Party restricts its citizens from accessing American platforms like Google, Facebook, and Instagram. Even TikTok in China is different than our US version. Yet the leader's own family prefers the freedom and opportunities that everyday Chinese individuals cannot experience in China. So here's the deal. Given the current circumstances and tensions between the US and China currently, Should the United States revoke her visa? Because if these political tensions keep rising, sanctions, spying accusations, especially cyber warfare, can we afford to host our biggest rival's daughter? And this just goes to show, if even the children of global rivals come here to the US for opportunity, what does that say about who really leads the world? Just food for thought. Who's really winning?
In a real war, America has no chance. One, it's just a numbers game. China has so many people. China could drop people on America instead of bombs and still win. Which brings me to point number 2. China does not give a fuck about human lives. That's how you win wars. And I know they don't give a fuck because I was recently on a flight back from Hong Kong, Chinese airline. The in-flight snack was peanuts. Yeah. China they don't give a fuck about your life-threatening allergies. That's how their government implements quality control on their population. Chinese government's like, oh, your kid dead from peanut? Yeah, your kid no good. You try again, you try harder, you make a new kid, you make a better kid. If China wants to win a war against America, it doesn't have to fire a single shot, just has to put a peanut in every iPhone.
China is not going to colonize Africa. The problem is your corrupt leaders who go to China with empty bags and come back with money. They want money and they negotiate with money in their mind. So you come to me like that, I will also dribble you. So go there with proper ideas, not with corrupt mentality. There's no China that wants to colonize anyone. How do you get colonized now when you are the negotiator? South Africa has surrendered a port now in Durban now. That's colonialism, where you just take your port and give it to other people, surrendering your sovereignty, and later you are going to say people have colonized you. When you go to China and say, give us a power station in exchange for OR Tambo Airport, why would they miss that opportunity? It's not them, it's your stupidity as leaders. There is no policy of China. We've gone through it many times that seeks to colonize anyone. But if people go there with better ideas, it's not a problem of China. It's their own problem.
For China,
145%
where he
on some
raised
products.
the tariff rates. That's because the United States has a deep, neurotic attachment to China. The U.S. political system hates China. Why? Because China's big and successful. And so that the U.S. hates. It's a rival, it's a competitor, and so this is the one thing he left on. Now he's going to mess up everything with this too, because in a trade war between the U.S. and China, China wins. China does not depend on the U.S. market very much. It's about 12% of China's exports. China will do just fine. It's just dumb policy.